this is it. The type of moment that nobody wants to be in. The moment where something terrible is about to happen and everything you do matters. But let's go back to the very beginning to see everything that happened to lead up to this moment. So initially it looked like it was going to be a pretty nice flight because I got the rare opportunity to do a reverse launch, which I don't get a lot because the wind's not consistent. But I thought it was kind of scary. My glider was completely trimmed out for speed, and I literally took 3 steps and I was already in the air. So I knew the wind was going to be pretty strong, and so I thought I'd probably fly into the wind southward for a little while and then turn around and rip back northward. But I didn't expect the gusts that I would receive. I knew it was going to be a little bit bumpy, but I had observed the wind for about 15 minutes and it didn't seem that bad. You could probably hear some of the gusts whipping over the microphone as a good indication of how bad it really was and how bad it was going to get. But I checked the wind reports, and for my area they're usually all over the place and not accurate whatsoever, quite literally plus or minus 10 miles an hour. They're pretty bad, especially with the gust estimates. So usually what I do is I just, like I said, observe the wind for a little bit, and it didn't seem like it was going to be bad. So that's why I took off. Unbeknownst to me, there was actually a big storm incoming, and I didn't check the regular weather to know that. There was a big storm incoming, and it was bringing with it some really nasty winds, which I did see later in the wind report that I saw, but like I said, I take that with a grain of salt, and because it's usually pretty inaccurate. But already right here you can see I've tried to turn to the left some to try to go a little bit to the east, and it didn't quite work. So at this point I've already decided that it's not good to fly. So I'm just going to head north, turn around, and land. And you can see here how much faster I'm going across the ground because the wind is pushing me. And up here at this altitude, this was probably, this is around 500, about 500 feet, I think. The wind was stronger, but it was less turbulent, and so I felt safer up here, and I thought maybe I could regain some distance to the park at this altitude, but as you'll watch, that doesn't really happen. And at one point I decided that maybe I'll use my speed bar, but on my wing, my Ozone Spider 3, if I use my speed bar while I have the glider completely trimmed out, I cannot use my brake toggles. So just in case I don't go for it, I start to connect it, but then I decide not to, and just stick with the trims completely released, trimmed out. And I didn't want to chance destabilizing the wing anymore with the conditions that I already had to deal with. So at this point I'm doing a lot of looking around. There was a lot less turbulence up here, but I ended up letting off the throttle and descending down back into that really nasty turbulent wind so I could make some forward progress back to the park. Because anybody that doesn't know, the lower altitude you are, normally the slower the wind's going to be, and at higher altitudes the wind is usually stronger. So that's the swap off. Progress was painfully slow here, so the next couple of minutes of video I've actually sped up to 400% speed, because that's just how strong the wind was. I could barely move going forward, only a couple miles an hour. Alright, we're coming up to the moment where the wind picked up in strength and the gust definitely picked up, and I start getting hit with the gusts. And at this point, you can see I'm not even moving forward anymore. I'm kind of trying to fight through it, and I'm not looking around or anything. But we'll go ahead and I'll let you watch it real time, and then I'll slow it way down for you guys and talk about exactly what happened and what I was doing with my hands to try to fix the situation. Alright, as you saw, I got hit with that first gust. I actually collapsed the left side of my wing a little bit. It wasn't huge, but it was significant. And I actually did a quick pump on that with my left hand, pulled on the brake, one quick pump to try to fix it. And then I got the other giant gust, and that completely folded my wing under on the left hand side. I could feel it. It was gone. So then I start plummeting, and I pulled another pump. You can see it right there where it kind of stalled a little bit going left, and then I ended up pumping it again really quick, and it started to reinflate some, but not completely. And right here I pulled it down a third time, and I actually pulled it in. My right hand is completely up, pulled my left hand way down to go into the swoop that I was already in, and knowing that wind coming up behind me was going to help to reinflate my wing and prevent a cravat, or prevent my wing from being stuck underneath. And here, right here with the wind directly behind me, I actually started pulling down my right hand too. I pulled it down a little bit too much at first, but I'm riding the brakes while I throttle up to help gain some altitude as soon as I can. But overall, I had full control of my glider again. So at this point, I'm a tiny bit shaken, but looking around, trying to figure out where I'm going to land exactly. Initially, I thought I was going to land way out in the field in front of me there, the nice green one coming up here, but I wasn't sure if they were growing anything in there or not. So instead, I go across the road over to a cow pasture, so I wasn't trampling on anything. But I still rode the brakes all the way to about this point, which with my glider, in my experience, is okay. When you're completely trimmed out for speed. So the rest of this is really uneventful. The gusts calmed down enough, so I didn't have any trouble landing over here. But I want to thank the property owner for coming up to check on me and giving me a ride home. And I also want to thank his neighbor. I was actually the first one who came out and checked on me. So thank you guys again so much. And the big takeaway here is that know the conditions, know the weather, what's coming up, the wind, the regular weather, everything, know all of it, and so you don't get caught in this kind of situation. And if you do, use what you know, remember your training and what you've learned from experience, and react to the situation. Do not freeze up, because I don't think I would have made it if I froze up, not at all. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and make sure you fly safe out there.